South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world. Our gaming amenities include over 60 table games and over 2,600 of the most popular slot and video poker machines. We have penny slots, including the popular Buffalo games, and real machines like Wheel of Fortune, Triple Sevens, and Megabucks. If you prefer video poker, try Deuces Wild, Double Double Bonus, or a variety of multi-denomination games. Or try your hand at one of the most popular casino table games in the world, Blackjack. Don't let the game intimidate you. Blackjack, also known as 21, is both easy and fun. And our dealers are always happy to assist. And the best part? Blackjack always pays 3 to 2. Next, check out the roulette tables. Roulette is one of the easiest casino games to learn, and so much fun to play. It's a favorite of both beginners and seasoned players. In addition to blackjack and roulette, our casino pit features over 60 popular table games like Baccarat, Pai Gow Poker, 3-Card Poker, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and Mississippi Stud. So get out of your room and come join in the fun.
Good morning. Welcome in. It is Sports by the Book live here on Las Vegas Boulevard at the South Point Hotel and Casino. South Point Studio this side. I'm Jeff Parles. She is Alex White. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning. How are you doing today, Jeff?
We're here. We're in one piece. That's all we can ask for, right? That's usually how it goes. Only 2 days to go in the month of February. It'll be March. It'll be madness. Selection Sunday is 2 weeks away at this rate. Excuse me, I should say 3 weeks away. We're getting there. It's almost that time again.
Did we get a little preview of March Madness last night, which I know you do want to talk about the result of one of the games, potentially?
Maybe. Maybe not. We'll have to find out. Coming on the show here today, of course, the trivia question of the day is actually across the board right now. If you're watching us right now at home, JR has to do it without Google in order to count as a victory for JR. Everyone else, as long as you don't admit it, we won't look into it. But JR, without Google, my friend, to extend his win streak yet again in the South Point Studio Sports by the Book trivia. We'll be joined by Justin Perry, who have Shot Quality Bets, talking some college hoops. Has a bunch of games he'll go through. Also ask him about his future portfolio and also all the games that you and I have, Alex. And we'll get to that in a second. But let's begin with last night. And we begin at College Park, Maryland. It was a wild finish last night between Michigan State and Maryland. Spartans do it again as an underdog. They win on a 60-foot buzzer beater by Trey Holloman, 58-55. Spartans just continue to find ways to win as this time they hand Maryland their first home loss in conference. It was an ugly game, Alex. No one shot well, and Michigan State finds a way to get the win.
And Maryland actually had a really good look where they could have put that game away. So that is a tough loss for them. Now they fall 11-6 in conference and are sitting there right with Purdue and UCLA behind them for that 4 seed. So that was one that they wish they could have had back, but very good shot there to close it out. And that's what I meant. Little preview. Love those when it comes to tournament time.
The under was still good, even if it went to overtime in all likelihood. If it went to 2 overtimes, maybe you start sweating a little bit. But Michigan State wins outright as a 4-point underdog. And then a big one in the SEC last night. How about Vanderbilt going on the road, beating Texas A&M, and that probably is good enough to get Vanderbilt in to the NCAA tournament. That ending was totally bizarro. So this game was over. Like Vanderbilt, that was up by 5 with no one near anyone to just run the clock out. They throw the ball out of bounds. A&M comes down, hits a 3. Vanderbilt actually turns the ball over with 0.2 of a second left. A&M had a shot at a game-tying tip, got knocked away, and that was that. Big win for Vanderbilt. Just moving up the board, Alex, in the NCAA tournament now for the Doors.
Geez, sitting right there, 10th in the SEC, so that would make them the 10th. And then who are we waiting on? Arkansas, Georgia, kind of on the bubble there?
So Arkansas had a huge win last night in overtime against Texas. Thanks, guys, for going overtime. We would have gotten there on the total if it went regulation, but thanks, as always. Georgia with the huge win earlier in the week against Florida. Texas and Oklahoma right now, I think, if the SEC is going to get more than 12. That's where you kind of have to look on that one right now. With Arkansas moving up the board with that win a night ago. Never been a talent question for the Hogs, as we know, against Texas, winning that game in overtime. Those were really the biggest results last night in college hoops. San Francisco did beat at Oregon State, setting up a winner gets the 2 seed in the WCC tournament game on the Hill on Saturday with Gonzaga and the Dons of USF. All right, let's get into some college hoops here for today, Alex. Let's just start off the board. If there's a game we don't touch, tell us in the chat. We can cover it. Justin Perry can be asked about it. We can get a nice collection of opinions on games we may not touch here on the show here today. And we begin with the basketballs falling on top of us. But we're too strong. We get out of it. Charleston and Delaware starts us off in the CAA. Alex, Delaware is playing some terrible basketball right now. The Hens have lost 9 of 10. Their last win was against William and Mary, who we know can't play away from home. Now Delaware goes on the road, taking on a Charleston team that last time out, it was not a pretty showing against Drexel. They lose that game by 9. Now back at it here. Final 2 days of the regular season here for the CAA. They get going soon. Right now, looking at 7.5 on this one. But that total is what you and I eyeballed, and that thing got whacked up 3 whole points on the overnights from 156.5 to 159.5.
And I completely agree. I actually made this game 165, so I think you're still okay here. I just don't want to get in the habit of giving out bad numbers. We're always trying to educate as well as give our opinions and what we like on games. And one thing that we talk about often is betting early and getting the best of the number, because if you get in a habit of getting bad closing line value, then ultimately over time you will lose. But I mean, if you look at the pace these two want to play, both of them are playing in the top 50 pace in the country. You mentioned it. Delaware's defense is terrible. They are much better on the offensive side. So I think that this will be a pretty high scoring game. Both the trends match as well. Delaware 19-8 to the over this year, 8-4 on the road, and Charleston 9-3 to the over at home. So not much that Delaware can play for now. 5 through 10 do get a bye in the conference tournament, but they are 2 games back. I don't think that they will be able to catch them. They'd need a lot of help there. So I do like the over, and I think you're okay still here. But I liked it much better at that 156.5.
Yeah, Delaware bottom 25 in the country in defense now. It just has been a lead balloon on the defensive end of the basketball for the Blue Hens. Just a question, this Charleston team, I thought was going to be a little bit better than they've been. They still are 21-8. They are still going to have a shot to win the CAA auto bid for another year. But you look at their analytics numbers, they're pretty pedestrian. I would have expected a little bit more out of them. Wilmington, by the way, the number 1 team in this conference, 120 in KenPom. They sell at 37 spots over the current leaders of the conference, Towson. So be on the lookout for that when you're looking at prices next week. And I do agree with those numbers. I think Sakayo's team, Wilmington, who we'll get to in a moment, is the best team in this league. Actually, we'll get to them right now. UNC Wilmington on the road at Campbell. Wilmington's a 3.5-point road favorite. Now, we're talking about seeding here. Wilmington, cannot get to the 1 seed. It's over. They can't get there. Towson beat them. Towson's going to be the 1 team in 1 seed in Washington, D.C. next week in the CAA tournament. Campbell, right now, has a shot to get up to the 3 line with some help, win 2 games. Losses by William and Mary and Charleston would bump them up. They also get a crack at Charleston over the weekend in South Carolina. But I'm just taking the better team here. I know Wilmington doesn't have much to play for, still trying to hold on to that 2 seed. But they're just a much better basketball team when this is all said and done. And I don't think Campbell has the offense in order to take advantage of the Seahawks' leaky defense. So I do like UNC Wilmington here. Wouldn't go much higher than 4. I think that's the peak you can go. I would lay 3.5 very happily right now with the Hawks on the road.
I really wanted to make a case for Campbell, especially trying to get to a 3 or 4 seed and get that double bye, but then really diving into it for a team that is struggling offensively. They lost a guard a couple weeks ago. It was after that Elon game, broke his leg, and they've adjusted fairly decently, but I don't think that they'll be able to keep up with Wilmington in this game. So tried to make a case to take the points here. There is some revenge. Wilmington did win the first one 77-69, so they did keep it competitive. They play great transition defense, and I mean, if you look at the conference numbers, technically they've had the best defense in the conference throughout this conference play, but Wilmington is the best offense by far, and I just worry that they won't be able to keep up offensively.
Next week in the CAA tournament, it's going to be between for me, Wilmington and Charleston. I know Towson, and we'll get to them in a second. I know they're the number 1 seed. I just don't trust their offense in a tournament setting. Very curious to see how Wilmington looks tonight, though, in this one on the road against Campbell. All right, a lot of CAA here today, but these Thursdays usually break. We go now to Hampton and Drexel. It feels like we talk about Drexel every single Thursday now, Alex. Hampton, Drexel, right next to each other in the standings. 8-8 on Hampton, 7-9 on the Dragons. This game tonight in Philadelphia. What are we looking at here, Alex, on this one?
Going down my board right here, looking at Hampton with the revenge. No, they did win at home, 63-58. No revenge there. So really, I just made this game a lot lower than it is right here. I've got it at 122. So I do like the under in this one between these two. Looking at the pace, it's really Drexel. They play at a 354 pace in the country, 63.2 is their average possessions. And on the other side, Hampton, much better defense than they are offense. So I do think that number is much too high. Drexel 16-11 to the under on the year. So I like that under a lot. It is moving down too.
Yeah, it's on the move. 130 right now. I'm just going to stay out of this. If this was 3, I think I'd lay it with Drexel. If it was 3, I don't want to go north of a possession in this game. Pretty even teams, all things considered, between the Pirates and the Dragons in this one. All right, let's go to where are we going next? Towson. Let's go there. William and Mary and Towson. 6 is the number in this one, and I'm just going to keep fading William and Mary when they're away from home. That's all this is. I do not love laying a big number with this sort of offensive team in Towson. Great defense, want to slow it down. Don't love having to lay the points. But other than that win at Elon, which came last weekend, it has been a mess away from home for William and Mary, and I expect that to continue against the better team here in this conference. So I do like Towson. It's a little scary. It's a little scary when you're dealing with the 347th tempo in the country and an offense that's sub 200, but I'll trust their defense. I expect William and Mary to struggle to score even with their tempo. I do like Towson here. I am going to be on this here today, Alex. I wish I had gotten that 5.5 last night.
I'm with you. I think that is the right side here. William and Mary, great shooting team. They are not good at defending at all. So they try to play a slow down transition defense. But they really, if you look at their block numbers and even defending field goals, they're terrible. So I think Towson is the right side. They're fine slowing it down. They like to run their offense. They also play transition defense. William and Mary, I don't think they'll be able to get all the breakaways that they can against lesser competition and go downhill like they want. As you were talking about their offense, which definitely is their strength. Towson, better defense. They're at home. I think that's the right side.
I just wonder for Towson next week. Pat Scarry is a very, very good mid-major coach. I just wonder, enough offense potentially in the CAA tournament. Should be good enough tonight, but once we get to a neutral, I'm curious to see how they look, even though, again, Towson, Maryland, not too far off from Washington, D.C. All right, let's go to Chattanooga and Greensboro here. So this one's bouncing because it went down to pick. Now it's back to 1 on this game with Greensboro laying it. I still like Greensboro. Now, in the SoCon, this is a conference tournament next week that I believe is a wide open tournament. Chattanooga's the best ranked team, Sanford's the best ranked team right now in Ken Palm. Chattanooga is currently in first place in the conference. The winner of this game will actually be in first place entering the weekend. That is a gigantic game in this one. But home court, I think, matters in this game. That's why I like Greensboro, even though not a far trip from Chattanooga to Greensboro. But I do like UNCG in this one, and I don't trust Chattanooga's defense here. When it's all said and done next week, in the SoCon, that conference tournament will start next week. It'll end the following Monday, as it always does. I like Sanford to win their second straight as of right now. I'm curious to see what that price is, even if they do get stuck on the 3 line, which it looks like they're going to right now, Alex.
I think that's really important to start talking about, and we will continue this going into the conference tournaments. But looking for those teams and getting a good price, or if you want to just go game by game, kind of rolling over and expecting these really good teams to make a run in the conference tournament there. I'm on the opposite side. I'm not betting it, but I lean to Chattanooga here. They do have the 4th longest win streak. They also have revenge. They did lose at home to this team, and it was very competitive, 78-75. So they're going to be up for this game. Like you said, pretty important for these two and the standings. So it's going to be a tough game. I completely understand why it's going back and forth and the difference of opinions. I do have Greensboro 2.5 at home. Normally, giving Chattanooga that revenge factor. Basically, I have a pick 'em, nothing for me to actually play. But that win streak, that's on their mind as well.
Going to Michigan and Rutgers next. I don't know what to do with this game, Alex. I'm going to need your help on this one because Michigan, as we discussed earlier in the week, Michigan, since I got to just give you the date exactly here, since they beat Washington on January 12th by 16 points, all of their wins, and that's eight of them, have been by 4 points or less. They lost to Minnesota by 3, and Purdue and Michigan State both beat them by double figures. Purdue destroyed them. Purdue beat them by 27, and then Michigan State, of course, beat them by double digits on Friday last week in Ann Arbor. This is 9.5. Rutgers, as we talked about, just 14-14 with arguably the second and third picks in the NBA draft. Just a monster disappointment for a team that I thought was a clear NCAA tournament team going into the year. And for Steve Peichel, a guy who I normally like, got as little as humanly possible out of this team. But they've won 2 in a row, and they've played themselves off the Big Ten tournament bubble with those 2 wins. 9.5 feels like a lot, Alex, but at some point, I don't know. Will Michigan win a game by more than 4 points? So what do you like here with a total of 155?
I do think 9.5 is too much. So I made Michigan 8 here at home. I give Rutgers some points for the revenge factor because they did lose at home to Michigan 66-63. You talking about that the other day with Michigan and winning those really close games just made this an even stronger play for me. They do have the talent. We talk about it all the time with teams, just don't always gel together. But we've seen glimpses from this Rutgers team where they have looked really good. So I think they can keep this game close. They're going to want to keep this momentum going, winning 2 in a row, want to continue playing good going into the conference tournament. So I do like the points here with Rutgers.
9.5 in this one here tonight. The only Big Ten game on the board here in college hoops here tonight. We're going to bounce around. We see your requests. And we'll get one from Dean right now because he's going to be in attendance for this just mess of a basketball game tonight in Long Beach. Long Beach State and Cal State Bakersfield. Boy, this is woof. Long Beach is a pretty place, I know, but Dean, you're watching a heck of a game here tonight. This is Ken Palm 231 against Ken Palm 312. Bakersfield's 2.5. 138 is the total. Long Beach hasn't won since January 11th. So legitimately the previous presidential administration was still in office at that point. I don't know. I have no idea. Both of these teams stink. It would probably be a lean to the under, if anything, but I don't know, Alex. It could be a happy action fun time game as well. So I don't know what to do with this, Dean, if you're looking for action on this game.
Honestly, I don't have anything either. I think those numbers come just right. If you want to look at some trends here, we could go, you're right, a little bit of, no, we got it opposite here. So overs for Bakersfield on the road, 7-5, and same for Long Beach State, 6-4 to the over. Covering the spreads, Bakersfield has been awful on the road, 3-9. ATS, Long Beach State, not much better, 4-6, 1-9 at home, as you mentioned. Yep, that's a tough one. I mean, if anything,
it's not good. It's not a good basketball game, Alex. It's not pretty bettable on top of it, which is not a. Oh boy, wonder how many people will be in attendance at the Pyramid tonight there in Long Beach. May not be a lot. It might be just Dean. You're right, Ryan. It might just be Dean for that one. All right, keeping it in the Big West though. Actually, I want to backtrack here. I forgot to put something on the list. Sorry, Ryan. UC Irvine and Cal State Fullerton, real quick, which is 837, 838. This is an 18-point line here. Now, Fullerton is bad. They're 341 in Ken Palm. Their last win came against Long Beach State because, of course, it did. Other than that, they only have 4 D1 wins this year, Fullerton. They beat Denver, they beat Idaho State, and they beat Pepperdine. That's it. The Pepperdine win makes no sense in retrospect, but that's a different discussion for a different time. Now to get Irvine, who we've talked about in this league, and we'll get to UC San Diego in a second. There's the potential for multiple 27-win regular season teams in this league. That's how good this league has ended up being. If Irvine wins out, they get to 27. UC San Diego is already at 24. They're going to have a shot at 28 in the 30-win season with a conference championship. Really good high-end teams. But this is a lot of points. And I'm just curious if Fullerton is able to not just be a total calamity offensively, which is a big if. This probably is a cover with the Jumbos here tonight, but tread carefully. You are dealing with an awful team, and you are dealing with a 270 slot differential in Ken Palm, which you just normally do not see in this league.
Yeah, and they won the first game by 20. They were at home, but I think that's the right number here. I think they should be about a 20-point favorite. I can't fault you for taking these points. It is a lot of points. But Irvine right now sitting at second. I mean, they're still playing for that 1 seed. So it's not like a meaningless game for them. I would just stay off of this one.
It's a brutal team, that Fullerton squad this year. They were in the NCAA tournament not too long ago either. That just shows how quickly, especially in these leagues, how it can turn on a dime. All right, this is the game of the night in the Big West. This is a really good game in Northridge tonight. The Tritons of UC San Diego, who are up to 35 in Ken Palm, which is outrageous for a team that started the year at 130. This is the first year that UC San Diego is eligible to be in the NCAA tournament. And they win the conference tournament. They're going to win 30 games. I think they're probably going to win out, assuming they win tonight. They take on Northridge, who took out Irvine last week. In Irvine, no less. They beat them by 12. Contrast the styles here. CSUN wants to play fast. UC San Diego was willing to run, but they prefer a slower game. But I think home court matters on this total. I like this game over 148.5 because as with Northridge's style, they're actually a little bit better defensively than offensively, but you're facing a legitimate top 50 offense in UC San Diego tonight. And I think this pace is going to be conducive to this game being played in the 70s, which then leads this to an over 148. So I do like over 148. And I would lean to UC San Diego as well in this game. I just think the Tritons are much better. I think it's just as simple as that. First matchup, UC San Diego drilled Northridge, beat them by 25. May just be a bad matchup for Northridge more so than anything. By the way, that game did have a higher possession total than UC San Diego's accustomed to, so it was even played at Northridge's tempo. So now at home, better offense, like it over 148.5.
I would play the favorite here in this one, even though they are on the road, but I do think they should be about 9 here in this spot. And really, they are so good offensively. They don't turn the ball over with the steals, the shot percentage. So I do think that that's the right side. I don't have a take on the total. I think that number's just right. So, but if you made me bet it, I would definitely bet UC San Diego.
Would be the way to go as well. This Triton team's taking someone out in round 1 of the NCAA tournament. Really hope they're seeded properly. They should be a 10 seed right now, maybe even higher, but kind of a cap on these smaller conference teams is that 10 line more times than not. All right, let's go to St. Mary's and Loyola Marymount. I can count the amount of times I think we brought up Loyola Marymount on one hand this year, but St. Mary's, they already have the WCC regular season locked. It's locked up. They're the 1 seed. It's a lot of points, even for a Loyola Marymount team that is pretty average, 164, so slightly above average technically. First time these teams met, St. Mary's pummeled them in Moraga. It was 81-56. But I think this is too many points, especially since this is the final game of the regular season for Loyola Marymount. St. Mary's, again, has everything locked up. Mm-hmm. They have to play Oregon State on Saturday in senior day festivities. Just wonder if the focus is not 100% there. Would love to see a 14. If you get that, I would hop in immediately. But it would still be a lean to the Marymount Lions here in this one, Alex.
Automatically highlighted this one, was ready to put it on the board under 132.5. You know I love my St. Mary's unders.
Yes, you do.
Definitely had to stay away with everything that you just said, them already having it locked up, this being a meaningful or meaningless game. I would think that they could slack defensively, so that would also lead to taking the points here with Loyola Marymount, but I decided it was better just to stay away from this one. Question for you about St. Mary's.
Please.
Because looking at
They're not in Maryland, Alex. Sorry, just had to throw that out there from earlier in the week.
Punchlines FN Monday show, if you are curious. What do you think about their non-con and looking at their wins? Because, I mean, they've just been fantastic in West Coast Conference play, but they don't have the best wins. Nebraska, USC, some good wins there.
So, St. Mary's is always a hard team for me to figure going into the NCAA tournament. We kind of saw last year, too, right? Where they win the WCC, and they got pretty well blitzed by Grand Canyon in that 12-5 upset. Pretty well blitzed in that. Now, they're good. Mitchell Saxon feels like he's been there for 9 years now. Great piece in the middle. Marshall Unis is an excellent veteran guard. Obviously, Mahaney is now on UConn, so he's not there anymore. But for me, this is just the question of who do they draw? Who do they draw? Do they draw a team that plays a similar style that allows them to, all right, we're going to slow the game down. We're going to beat the hell out of you like we normally do. Or are we going to see like last year in the tournament where Grand Canyon's like, hey, we speed this up. Yeah. They're not going to be able to hang with us. And that's exactly what happened. St. Mary's had a bad shooting game. Game got played at Grand Canyon's pace. And Grand Canyon destroyed them in the second half. So they're again, the tournament is matchup dependent. I hate using that cliche, but it's true. For St. Mary's, they're matchup dependent. I think their ceiling is probably Sweet 16.
Yeah.
Probably not going to go much further than that. Unlike Gonzaga, who, again, I don't think this is a particularly good Gonzaga team, but that Santa Clara game kind of showed me something where, boy, if they're going to get that play at a Dingue off the bench, I know I just butchered that name. They're a lot deeper than they were at the beginning of the year because of that. So we'll see. We'll see on Gonzaga. They could be on the 8-9 line and draw Auburn in round 2 and then be screwed. But we'll see how all that plays out as we go through. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to check in with our good friend Justin Perry. ShotQualityBets.com, where you can get his work. We'll get a few bets from him, including a few games that were requested in the chat. We'll get to those next right here, Sports by the Book, here at the South Point Studio.
Once you've satisfied your hunger, get ready for more of the hottest casino games in Vegas. Our 24-hour, 30-table non-smoking poker room proudly hosts all the most popular poker games with a variety of betting limits. Visit the poker room for a schedule of daily tournaments. Whether you're going to hold 'em or fold 'em, the best place for poker is at South Point Casino. You'll notice that our craps tables are usually the loudest in the casino. If you've never played, join one of our free craps lessons to find out what makes this game so exciting. Check with the craps dealer for schedules and give it a roll. Bingo is also an exciting way to spend your time. We offer 7 sessions of bingo every day. Bingo! And each session includes a cash ball jackpot, 12 bingo games, a progressive double action game, and a $10,000 bonus coverall. Electronic units are available. If you haven't played bingo with us, give it a try today. Guests can also get in on the action at our one-of-a-kind race and sports books, 2 separate rooms designed to maximize your experience and comfort. Our sports book, with over 400 seats, puts you right in the middle of the action, 24 hours a day. The friendly ticket writers are happy to help, and it's conveniently located next to the famous Del Mar Deli, where you'll find supersized portions of delicious deli items like roast beef, pastrami, and Reuben sandwiches, or soups, salads, and pizza, plus spectacular desserts fit for a king. And right next door is the race book, over 150 seats, each with its own TV screen. There are 16 interactive player terminals, so you can bet right from your seat.
Welcome back in. It is Sports by the Book here at the South Point Studio. I'm Jeff Parles. She is Alex White. And now joining us, you see his work on Shot Quality Bets. You see his work also at hoopshq.com. Our good friend Justin Perry joining us right now. Justin, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be. Well, you're in New York, so good afternoon to you. Thanks for being with us today.
Good morning to you guys. Alex, Jeff, thank you so much for having me on the show. It is the last 48 hours before it is officially March. So yeah. My schedule's booked. So many games to go. Every game getting more and more dramatic. We have a conference tournament starting on Sunday. So it is about to get nuts. I'm hyped.
Yeah, the A-Sun gets going on Sunday, and we'll all be ready for that. North Alabama looking like they're going to wrap up the number 1 seed in that league right now. So we'll see how that plays out. One of the first conference tournaments to go off the board. All right, let's start in the AAC, though, here. Justin, you wrote about this at hoopshq.com. FAU and North Texas. We know with North Texas, obviously, they want to grind the games they play down to a legitimate halt. 135 is actually a pretty high total for a North Texas game, but we know FAU wants to play fast. Owls 1-point favorites in Boca, total 135 on this one.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I think you got to go with FAU here in Boca Raton. They definitely have struggled at home. That's been, I think, the downfall of their season a little bit, right? They should have had maybe a couple of those bigger wins. They lost to Memphis, UAB, Wichita, and I think their rim attack just gives them enough juice to get this done against UNT, who maybe comes in with that reputation of being that defensive behemoth. I think that this is a team that should be a little bit better in FAU, that has a record that, what we do over shot quality, evaluating the probability of every single game. to go one way or another. FAU been a little unlucky. I think you're getting a good price buying in on them here at home to get a big win against UNT, who, probably wants to get this done, but you get all those narratives, must wins, all this good stuff. I think the strong offense of FAU will challenge the mean green defense, and they've been a little lucky. So I'll take the Owls.
Let's completely switch it up to a game that is a very high total that has been bet up even higher here. Delaware and Charleston. Jeff and I went over this one. Bet up from 156.5 to 159.5. We both understand why in that one. Charleston, 7.5 point favorite. What do you like here, side or total?
I'm a big sides bettor, so I don't really do a lot of totals. It's just, honestly, there's so much in college basketball. When you try to cover all 360 teams, it gets a little tough. But these Blue Hens have been definitely costing me a little bit of money. They've been failing to cover the spread time in and time out. But I think that does lead to a little bit of a inflated number here on the Blue Hens. They are efficient shooters per shot qualities metrics, but of course, getting a little bit unlucky. That's kind of my calling card, right? We're expecting them to be shooting a little bit better in the conference from behind the arc, but also getting unlucky on defense. Opponents are shooting 36% from three against them. We're expecting 33%. That's a pretty big difference. It just seems their defense can't contain anybody. I do think they're a little bit better than that. So I'll buy in today on the Blue Hens. Again, we'll see if it bites me, but I do think the value is there. Win or lose, my MO is I want to say, regardless of how it goes, I would make it again. And this is a spot at 8.5 that I took Delaware at.
CAA Thursday is always a lot of fun. We Alex and I like the over on the early number, and that number's been shot up all the way almost to 160 now. On that one, Delaware 7.5 point underdogs to play for Justin on that one. All right, we now go to the bottom feeder bowl. Let's go to the Fighting Gottliebs against Detroit Mercy here. We already seen this matchup once this year. Detroit beat them by 10, covered that game. Now we're playing this one in Green Bay. Phoenix 3.5 point favorites in this one against Detroit, Justin.
Yeah, I was on the Phoenix last time out against Youngstown. They looked good. They kept that game within 2 possessions for the entirety of the game. There was not one moment where Youngstown took a big lead. I mean, they look almost revitalized. I think we see this a lot with first-year coaches, especially ones that struggle out the gate this last couple of weeks in the regular season where, maybe things seem a little predetermined. Everyone's set into their range of seedings for the conference tournament. So, okay, Youngstown maybe loses. They didn't lose, but, it wasn't going to be the end of the world. So I think this is a great spot to buy in on a team like Green Bay, who already has their sights set on just playing to continue to improve, is going to play through the whistle. You get a decent price here at home for them to play against a Detroit team that is not very good. We had a projected win against Youngstown. We had a projected win against Wright State. They've been expected to be close in some of these blowouts, like the Detroit game. You mentioned a 10-point loss. We expected a 3-point loss. So, it puts it at a good spot here. I like the teams at home. I think you're getting a little bit of a discount here on Doug Gottlieb. I would expect him to want to drive home a big victory at any point he can. He needs it. So this is a good spot to get it. I don't think they've been favored for quite some time. So I think you can take them as short favorites here.
All right, Justin, we're going to the Southern. Top 2 teams in this conference. Greensboro right now is a 1-point favorite. This number has been all over the map. We've seen Pick'em. We've seen Chattanooga even favored here. Total 142.5. Who do you think gets this one between the 1 and 2 seed?
I grabbed the Chattanooga +2 line last night, and I'll tell you why. Good passing creates great spacing for this Moccasins offense. They attack the rim with great efficiency because of it. And honestly, on the other side, what impresses me most is that they allow the 40th fewest shots at the rim on defense. Their shooting expectancies look good because, again, that spacing just generates such clean looks. And they can hit their free throws, which is always a good sign to back up that everything's sort of working in combination, right? When you have like a bad free throw percentage with good spacing, maybe you think, okay, the threes are lucky. They could develop bad spacing and they don't have the shot making. Chattanooga kind of has it all, and they don't turn it over. We do rate them as the best team in this conference and have a bit of an edge here, taking them maybe to advance and get that auto bid if they win. This is tough, though. It's a slight spread for a reason. UNCG is not an easy opponent. They're going to make this one a little bit more challenging than, maybe the number even indicates. But for us, maybe relying a little bit too much on the pick and roll out of a slow tempo offense, this could be a spot where maybe Chattanooga, the line isn't really considering that they could actually be so much stronger and run away. So maybe even consider like an alternate finish for Chattanooga to win this game by like 4 or 5 points if it balloons off a loss. I always like when that home team loses and they foul because they want to try to get back into it. So there's probably some value there on Chattanooga to win by, upwards of 4, upwards of 5.
Going to the horizon, Justin, back to the horizon, I should say. This Cleveland State team got off to such a good start. They've come back to earth a little bit over the last few weeks. Now they go on the road in their state to take on Wright State here in this one. Another tight line. Wright is a 1-point favorite at home with a total of 146 in this one.
Yeah, I mean, tight lines, tough spreads. I'm shocked that I have so much action today because, again, I'm actually not that shocked because it's all mid-majors. There's only a few games at the top of the list, and you're going to struggle on the Power Fives at this point because I think, Ken Pom is so trained in, has like 30 games of data. You're not really fooling anyone on the teams that everyone bets on, that there's volume on, that, established sharps, all this good stuff. The mid-majors, you can slip through the cracks. So a lot of action for me today. This Horizon League is a lot of fun. Cleveland State, we actually have them as the 4th team in this league. Wright State right behind them, almost even. One team a little bit better on offense in Wright State, the other team a little bit better on defense in Cleveland State. So interesting matchup there when Wright State has the ball, probably a little bit more determinant. Cleveland State plays a lot of those mid-range shots, though. So I'll always be against that. They do rely on like forcing turnovers, which I think might be a little tough today for Wright State at home, where they can kind of keep decent command of the ball. They shoot very well. They don't allow a lot of threes on defense. So mid-range battle, though, I mean, Horizon, that's kind of what everything always comes down to. You hit your mid-range compared to the onslaught of, turnstile defense at the rim in some of these lower major conferences where they don't have the shooters. But I do think this is a good spot to buy in on Wright State, maybe a little bit of favoritism on Cleveland State, who has run this conference for quite some time.
I don't think we've hit the Summit League yet, so we'll bring one of these games in here. Denver won the first one by 1 point. Now here we have Kansas City, a 7-point favorite, total 136. What are you doing in this one?
Yeah, Summit League, pretty interesting. Denver up there, but in terms of maybe the teams you don't want to bet. And this is not going to be easy because they are a team that does struggle in terms of allowing opponents to take some of the best looks from threes, bad defense against the rim, but still here against UMKC, a team that we have is pretty overrated. And even going on the road, I think you want to grab these points. It's a scary ask, but I always say some of like the best picks are the scariest. I took the 7.5 here, and I'm going to ride it out. I think this is a UMKC team that has largely been lucky this season. We can see, an expected increase in their, defensive efficiency, which is, bad. So a decrease in play quality. They're only allowing teams to shoot 38% from the mid-range. Shot quality number is 46%. So that defensive regression starts to come home. We have it in the 3-point range by about 2%, post up by about 2%. It impacts their stuff. So they look maybe a lot better than they are. And I think this is a spot where even with a bottom feeder like Denver, which is, bottom of a bad conference, you got to take them on the road here. Probably a spot where UMKC is maybe more concerned about driving home a win rather than getting it done by 3 possessions like Ken Pom predicts.
Justin, I want to ask you about a game in the Big West involving everyone's darling right now, and properly so, UC San Diego on the road against Cal State Northridge, who Northridge took out Irvine last week, who is a team that might win close to 30 games as well. I'm just curious your thoughts on this game with the Tritons as a 5.5-point road favorite in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I got a point, I guess, of value since I got 6.5 last night. So a little bit of a win, I guess, there for in a market that rarely knows what it's doing. So I don't know. But yeah, UC San Diego, what a team. We've been really high on them since early in the year, maybe arrived to it first. And now we're a little bit lower on them in the market. I think they probably peaked in terms of their process about a month ago. And now we're seeing sort of everything catch up, but maybe everyone's sort of figuring out how to limit their shots and maybe overperforming. So I don't know. We have them at like the 43rd team in the nation, and Ken Palm's now brought them up, within the top 30. So a good spot to go against them a bit. Really good rim and three rate, but don't get it confused. Northridge is a good team themselves. They're going to challenge what this San Diego team is all about. I mean, the Tritons have like everything going for them, but CSUN, I mean, this is another leader. This is another team that could almost seal the bid, right? It's a lot of 3-point shooting for San Diego. It could maybe go badly, and they're going to force them to take those bad shots. CSUN allows the third fewest number of shots at the rim in the nation and are the sixth best defensive rebounding team in the nation for shot qualities metrics. So a lot of disruption, not a lot of second chances. They're going to be forced to take jumpers and hit them. So if they can disrupt them and it's a shaky day, I like that 6.5, that 7.5. Get that home. Scary spot. But again, sometimes the scariest bets in college basketball are the best.
Justin, first, before I want to talk about some of the futures that you have, I saw you tweeted about your portfolio, but I also see a bunch of write-ups, and I'm looking at shotqualitybets.com right now. Tell everybody what they can find here. I see some free write-ups, and then what else do you have to offer there?
Oh man, we're red hot on the free write-ups, Alex. So we do one a day from the Shot Quality Bets projection model. And I write it up myself. So I use it in conjunction with my personal card, and I weigh it against what the Shot Quality Bets model has to find essentially my pick of the day. I give it with Shot Quality Bets totally free. There's an email list. You can just go to the site, shotqualitybets.com/blog. Every morning around 10 a.m. It's usually up. I think we've won, something like 17 of the last 23. So it's been really hot, lifetime 56, 57% since getting started with it last season. Do college, NBA, women's, and it's all been really good, again, because the data just continues to do it. We also have live betting data, live regression data on the site for our, premium users. There's a lot of cool stuff. We have a March Madness primer coming up. So, but yeah, today's is Utah Tech, -2.5 in a big rivalry game against Southern Utah. Expect a old school style, not a lot of threes, maybe the fewest 3-point attempts you'll see in a game all season today. In this one, I still think the rim game for Utah Tech is going to be a little bit stronger. So my only full unit play today, I play very high volume at half units. So that's my pick of the day.
Justin, just want to ask you about as we get into conference tournaments here, because there are going to be a lot of quick turnarounds. There are going to be a lot of futures for leagues that a lot of people aren't paying attention to much as you guys are. Are there certain teams that you're pinpointing like, hey, I don't think the market is going to price these right when these future markets come out for these smaller leagues that you've been attacking all year?
Yeah, there's definitely a few that usually pop up every year. It seems to happen with these record luck teams that are doing just too well, honestly. And I think we see it sometimes. Like the biggest memory I have of it is like the UNC Asheville team from a couple of years back that just was expected to be so good and was absolutely lucky with Drew Pemmer and got into the tournament and got smacked in the first round. And we were all over that. And some of the teams that sort of shared that profile this season for us, Bradley, who covered yesterday against my pick of the day, my first loss in like almost a week against Valparaiso, but they continue to be pretty lucky. We're a little bit low on San Diego State, which is interesting for us. We don't see that defense as dominant as it used to be. Man, it's hard to go. I think just the shot quality saying that St. John's is lucky is just a testament to Rick Pitino's coaching, in my opinion. But they have been overperforming. They are not exactly something replicable, essentially, is what shot quality says. And I mean, that makes sense. You see their 3-point shooting, no advanced analytics site is going to be enamored and is going to be confused with how they win, which is kind of true. But some other ones maybe in the mid-majors to look at. Riverside has been pretty lucky. Furman has been really lucky. They saw some of that regression come home, but look for them maybe to struggle a little bit in the SoCon tournament. Clemson a bit flaky in terms of that shooting profile, could cool down at any minute. And Elon, I think Elon's a good one to maybe go against in the the Colonial now when that tournament comes around.
That was a fantastic breakdown right there, and a lot of teams that we can all look at moving forward. Are there any value future bets that you like right now? Pretty good numbers, either to win it all or maybe make the Final Four or Sweet 16?
It's a little tough. The numbers are a little chewed out at this point. Honestly, I have some interesting spots in terms of like having a little bit of Vanderbilt in my portfolio. I'm excited about New Mexico, but those numbers have largely come around to where I had them. So a little bit tough to recommend getting in. I think you can take some fun long shots. I just tweeted the other day, I think it's going to be hilarious when Baylor makes the Sweet 16 because they just still have the talent. So I would, if you want like a super flyer, go put like, the 110-1 on Baylor to win it all because they still have VJ Edgecombe, Norchad Omier, and Jeremy Roach. If they flip the switch with, Scott Drew, I don't think they're missing the tournament. Yeah, that wasn't a great loss in Cincinnati, but a comeback win shows you the type of mentality that this team has on the road in the Big 12. Yeah, Bearcats have kind of been a little iffy, but still, I think Edgecombe is one of those guys that can just take over a game, hit every shot, block you, steal the ball. He's going to go like top 5, top 7 in the draft this season. So if you like talent, you like takeover guys, we've seen what Roach can do when the shots fall. I mean, he beat St. John's after the buzzer. I was there in the Bahamas, and he took a shot after the buzzer went off and the clock operator was wrong, and it cost St. John's a chance at Tennessee there and a win. But nonetheless, I digress. There's definitely some value on those teams that are maybe dark horses, but there's not too many left. Maybe BYU, but that one has come down a bit too. I would go with like the bottom feeders from the better conferences and expect them to blossom once they leave the confines of their tough competition.
Justin, one more before we let you go, because sportsbook director Chris Andrews put this up, and it has been bet to one side on this prop. So he put the SEC versus the field up about a month ago now. It opened minus 160 on the field. Now it's down to minus 130 on the field, plus 110 on the SEC. What do you think at these current numbers? At the opening numbers, I like the SEC at plus 140. Now at plus 110, it's getting pretty tight there on the SEC angle of things.
Yeah, I am a little bit off. I would say off. I'll go with the field still personally, just in terms of how it looks. It's tough. That's tough, though. I'm a little low on the Auburn style of build. I'm a little bit low even on the Duke style of build, though I do think that flag has probably a better propensity to last through the tournament. And that's the concern, right? The injury risk or the St. Peter's risk, the FDU risk. Someone perfectly schemes it. We've seen it more probable than not in the last few years. Coaching has improved at the college level to that degree, even at the mid-major, low-major level for one of the teams Auburn might see. But yeah, I would probably go with the field because I have, some strong feelings about some of the teams in the Big East, in the Big 10, in the Big 12. It's loaded in the SEC, but also I think you could see a lot of teams vie for the conference tournament kind of heavily, especially in the middle of the pack. So I really think you're probably boiling that down to taking Alabama and Auburn. So I'd much rather just go play those 2 or 3 top teams, maybe mix in a little Missouri, than trying to get value out of the back end of the SEC, which is essentially what that's doing. I'd much rather the back end of the field, which is much wider, and just embrace the variance in college basketball.
He's Justin Perry. You can find his work over at Shot Quality Bets. You can find his work also at hoopshq.com as well. Justin Perry 8. Perry with an I on the tweets. Justin, thanks for hanging with us today. This was a blast.
Thanks, man. Hopefully see you guys soon. Enjoy your weekends. Enjoy your March Madnesses if I don't get to talk to you. Best time of the year. Thanks again.
Absolutely. Justin Perry, everyone. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Alex has some hockey for today that we'll hit next right here on Sports by the Book.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day. Plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside. Once you've satisfied your hunger, get ready for more of the hottest casino games in Vegas. Our 24-hour, 30-table non-smoking poker room proudly hosts all the most popular poker games with a variety of betting limits. Visit the poker room for a schedule of daily tournaments. Whether you're going to hold 'em or fold 'em, the best place for poker is at South Point Casino. You'll notice that our craps tables are usually the loudest in the casino. If you've never played, join one of our free craps lessons to find out what makes this game so exciting. Check with the craps dealer for schedules and give it a roll. Bingo is also an exciting way to spend your time. We offer 7 sessions of bingo every day. Bingo! And each session includes a cash ball jackpot, 12 bingo games, a progressive double action game, and a $10,000 bonus coverall. Electronic units are available. If you haven't played bingo with us, give it a try today. Guests can also get in on the action at our one-of-a-kind race and sports books. 2 separate rooms designed to maximize your experience and comfort. Our sports book, with over 400 seats, puts you right in the middle of the action, 24 hours a day. The friendly ticket writers are happy to help, and it's conveniently located next to the famous Del Mar Deli, where you'll find supersized portions of delicious deli items like roast beef, pastrami, and Reuben sandwiches, or soups, salads, and pizza. Plus spectacular desserts fit for a king. And right next door is the race book. Over 150 seats, each with its own TV screen. There are 16 interactive player terminals, so you can bet right from your seat.
Get ready to laugh with Punchlines with Frank Nicotero. Join Frank and his team of featured guests for your daily dose of comedy.
Reno, the Pittsburgh of the West.
Poison.
Yeah.
Poison.
Sports.
F for Falcons, Alex. We were talking Derek Carr for MVP after 2 games.
Who's we?
Okay, me. I was.
And the funniest social media posts.
People want to show off their food. Boom. Wiener on a guy's shoulder. It's the dark tones. We bleed blue.
It's your one-stop spot for great laughs and a good time. Find us on YouTube at Punchlines FN and join the chat live weekdays at noon Pacific for the ultimate blend of jokes, sports, and viral fun.
Welcome back in. It's Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White. Frank Nicotero is early for Punchlines, guys. That might be the biggest upset of the whole day. That's coming your way in about an hour and 4 minutes. I'll be there today, Punchlines FN on YouTube. All right, we can go to the ice here before we get out of here today. Alex, got a few games we're looking at here on the hockey slate. And we begin, for the second time in as many days, the Keystone Showdown, this time in Pittsburgh. South Point has this game a coin flip, minus 110 each side. Total 5.5 on this one with the Flyers on the road at the Penguins in this one.
Side, I do think that is the correct number. I'd lean to the Penguins getting some revenge here at home, but I'm going to do it again. I went over 5.5 the other day, hit within the second period. So I just think that this number is set too low here. I understand the rivalry here, but just even looking at their trends, we've got trends helping us out here. Penguins 3 straight overs at home, Flyers 2 straight overs on the road. And then if you look at their medians, I mean, the Flyers is 3 to 3.5 and the Penguins is 3 to 4. So we're going to take our shot here. Goaltending has been a struggle for both of these teams. So over 5.5 for me.
Over 5.5 to play for Alex on this one. And now another game with a 5.5 total. The Washington Capitals at home against the St. Louis Blues. It seems a little cheap on Washington, right? $1.60, $1.55. The low in the market on this one. Total 5.5 on this one here in the nation's capital.
Capitals are definitely making my card today at 160. I have them at least a $2 favorite here. I know the Blues are playing better and coming off a dominant win, but that was with Binnington. We have backup goalies in here for both teams, and that also leads me to an over. So I was excited to see Binnington and Thompson, thinking maybe Thompson would want to show off here with his lack of being on the Four Nations teams, but we have both backups, added some to this number, which originally my number was 5.5 over, but now with the backup goalies, I make it more 6. So I like the Caps and I like the over. I'm going to play them separate and I'm going to play them together for a little bit.
Over and favorite in this one in St. Louis and Washington. Stanley Cup final rematch in South Florida tonight. I don't think you have a play on this game, but I just want to bring this up real quick because open 6, now 6.5. This opened a flip. Now it's Florida minus 135 in this one, Alex.
See, that's interesting. I was thinking more of the money was going to Edmonton because they are on a losing streak. They're trying to figure things out. I thought people were betting on that, but a little bit of both ways, right? Yeah, nothing for me in this one. I have Florida minus 130. No Kachuk still. So you got to factor that in as well. And Edmonton trying to get right here in this spot. I do think 6.5 is the right number as well.
Vegas and Edmonton in a pretty tight heat right now for that Pacific number 1 seed, which honestly might be better to be the 2 seed, depending on what you think of LA and Colorado at this point, even though both of those teams have struggled with LA historically in the postseason and in the regular season. All right, Winnipeg on the road in Nashville for this one. $1.10 now on the Preds. Total of 6, your total in Music City.
I think it has been 110. I shopped around. This is pizza money bets here for my last 2, and I can't believe I'm saying it. From before the break, and now since they've come back, Winnipeg is on an 11-game winning streak, and I am going to go against it here. I'm taking the Preds plus the money. They're going from Ottawa to Nashville. We got the backup goalie in Comrie, so no Hellebuck. I think there's value here with the Preds trying to get right. They've lost 2 in a row since the break as well. So more of just a scheduling bet on this one than really trying to fade the Jets. But yeah, I'm taking a little bit of the Preds.
And then the last one where you came in is like, what is going on here? Minnesota on the road at Utah. As high as plus 160 available on Minnesota in the market. Behind us, it's minus 175 on Utah, plus 155 on the Wild in this game, Alex.
I'm still trying to dive deeper in this one, but I will be taking some of the plus money from the Wild unless I find something absolutely crazy. But Gustafsson is playing. He played in the last game. I know Utah has been playing better. They've won 3 at home, but on the year, they haven't been very good. They were better away from home, actually, and right now their home record is 11, 12, and 6. The Wild are the better team. I have them as a small favorite, even on the road here against Utah, so I think there's value taking that plus price. I got plus 160 on the Wild. Yeah, there's a couple guys out for Minnesota, but not enough to make a huge difference in the fact that Utah should be minus 175. And both of these teams, Minnesota's still trying to keep that 3 spot in the Central. So it's not like this is a meaningless game for them. I know Utah is chasing right now with 61 points, but I really like the Wild here.
Minnesota, again, in that mix in the Western Conference right now, it is a tight squeeze. Right now in the East more so than the West. The West right now, it's really Vancouver and Calgary fighting for that last slot. And then it's just a matter of will Minnesota and Colorado, how does that end up?
Right.
Honestly, not a great matchup regardless of who it is. It looks like Dallas or Vegas at this point. Going to be a hard matchup one way or another regardless of who comes out of that 2 and 3 seed and 3 and 4 seed in that central pot. All right, we got whiteboards here today in a second, or whiteboard, I should say, today. Only one here on the show. And Alex, after what has been a good showing the last few days, what are we looking at here today on a Thursday?
Couple basketball plays. So I am on Delaware and Charleston over 156.5. I did not put it on the board because of the move. Hampton, Drexel under 131. I'm okay with it at 130 also. And then I've got Rutgers plus 9.5. Looking at hockey here. So I do like the Flyers and the Penguins over 5.5 once again. St. Louis and the Caps over 5.5 plus Washington on the money line. And then my 2 pizza bets, 2 dogs today, Preds plus 119 and the Wild plus 159.
Put that together, be a nice little price if both of those got home on those 2 dogs at the bottom. All right. That's all we got for you here today. Big thanks to Justin Perry for hanging out with us here today, as always. Check it if you missed any of the show. Make sure just watch it back. Make sure you're subscribed. Oh, wait, actually, hold on a second. How could I forget the JR Invitational before we go? Is it still the JR Invitational, guys? Not today. Oh, wow. All right. Congratulations to Dean Hilt for knocking JR off the pedestal here today. JR slept in. Oh, man. And they're just sleeping on the job there for JR. So the question is, there have been 4 players aged 22 or younger in MLB history to have a 30-30 season. Who's the youngest to do it? Frank, you have any idea?
Juan Soto popped into my
That is not correct.
The youngest? How old are we
Okay, so I'll tell you the other 3. We can put them on the desk. I'll tell you the other 3 who are younger than 22 or 22 or younger. A-Rod did it in 1998. Acuna did it in 2019.
That was my second guess.
First
that
guess,
was my second guess, yeah.
Julio Rodriguez did it 2 years ago, which I completely forgot about. I'll give you one more desk. It happened in 2012, real quick, and it was a 20-year-old who did it.
Oh, my God.
This is the exact way that I felt, too.
I'm drawing a blank. National League or American League?
AL. You got 10 seconds.
See, I don't...
You
Cleveland
lived in that-
Indians?
No,
No.
you
AL West.
What?
No.
You lived there.
I do?
Well, you did.
Pittsburgh?
No.
LA?
All right.
Angels? Mike Trout.
There we go. He got there. He got there.
Plus 350 is comeback player of the year. Take that.
There we go. Trout did it at 20 years old in 2012, the youngest to
Thank you,
ever do
Alex,
it.
for the help.
JR, we're disappointed in you for sleeping in. We're not, though. We love JR.
We'll give him guff on punchlines.
Oh, you well,
In
no,
1
honestly,
hour.
actually,
He
you
correctly
guys will be
guessed
seeing
the other 3 players. That's
you guys will be seeing JR at the ballpark this weekend, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you can give JR some flack with the college tournament that's going on this weekend.
Thank you. Yeah, and if anybody wants to come out, it should be a good tournament. We've got Texas Tech. Can't remember the other teams at the moment, but 4 teams.
And I'm
Ryan
staying
Campbell.
away so there's no rain out, because last year it was supposed to be the first game I worked, and it was a rain out. And then the first game I was scheduled in the regular season was a rain out. They hadn't had a rain out in how many years? Yeah.
The entire existence of the ballpark.
Yeah.
And then it happened
It's my
with
fault.
you. Texas Tech, Illinois, Washington, Texas, your 4
Thank you.
teams that are in the Las Vegas Classic Cup at the ballpark. Frank, I'll see you in 54 minutes.
54 and a half minutes. Let's do it.
Yeah, on Punchlines FN, Alex. We'll see you on Sunday morning.
I'll be back Sunday.
Enjoy your next few days off. Even though I know they won't be off because you'll be at the ballpark for a few of those. Jerry, Vince, Sean, Ryan, and thank you all. We'll see you again next time right here, Sports by the Book here at the South Point Studio.